We made it to the last chapter, yay! So, what is your responsibility? We've kind of gotten into a state of learned helplessness. Hey, somebody else is going to do this, okay? Or, I don't understand it, so I'm going to ignore it. That's learned helplessness. That isn't what helped us get to the point of being independent and declaring our independence and living for it. And that's what we're asking you to do now, is to live for the truth. Bind yourself to the truth. That's your responsibility. And it may be difficult, even if we look back in the biblical sense, that, you know, the stories of David slaying Goliath. And we have multiple Goliaths out there. But even he killed a bear and a lion, I believe, before he went against Goliath. And when he picked up the stones to throw at the giant, he picked up a handful. He just happened to kill him on the first try. So remember that you're stuck now inside the gate. And you can keep your head down low until you get presented with contracts you have to decide about. And one contract that you may get faced with is a settlement offer. Remember that we're in bankruptcy now, a municipal corporation. That's the civil government of the United States. And that was the papal, the one run by the Pope. It's being dissolved, and that's what Doge is all about. And so they may offer a settlement and say, here's $5,000 or here's $10,000 if you'll settle, if you'll sign on the dotted line. We want to make sure that we know what we're doing when we do that, because you're owed millions, maybe billions. And truly the money is out there, the wealth, the abundance, but you haven't been taught that. So what I've presented in these 8 chapters may have to fundamentally change the way you've thought about things. And like all of us, once we learn the truth, we may have to go back to kindergarten and start over again. And I may be a first or second grader, but we're stuck in situations where we have to be a professor at law in order to get out of the situations that may be presented against us. So you're stuck in here. And so one thing you may want to do is get a t-shirt. Okay? That's what this is all about. I'm not trying to sell t-shirts, but the point is that we need to start spreading the truth. Because if you tell 2 friends to come watch these videos, and they tell 2 friends, it would take less than 60 days before the entire world knows the truth. And then we can stand on it and demand to get to where we need to be. Or we can continue to compromise and add things like the Roman law of mundus volticepi into our lives. So I've created Passover 2, and you can get there by either .org or .com. And that's the shirt I wear here too. But it's the idea that this is really our second Passover. We've been made dead slaves and servants to the Roman lie, and we need to get out. So we want to mark our congregations, we want to mark our land of our churches free of any encumbrance. So we need to restore them back to the land jurisdiction and land patent. So in order to do that, I created a site and a way to communicate, either by putting the civil flag, the peace flag, putting your war flag upside down saying you're in distress, or by putting a mark going this way, this time vertical instead of horizontal. And of course that completes the cross if you're familiar with Christianity. So that's Passover 2, and I would ask that you go there. And we want to start making our friends, neighbors, and family accountable. So I've created a form that you can go, or guest book, where you can go and say, I contacted so-and-so and sent them an affidavit. And if they don't respond, then we make claim on their land. It's not their land, it's our land, it's American land. So if you want to continue on with the lie, then you're free to go back to England or go back to Rome and live there and live the lie. But we want to be free of those lies here in the United States, where the blood was already shed to say, no, we are living and we stand under the Declaration of Independence. We have unalienable rights from our Creator. We don't need the Pope or the King for any of this. In fact, we can fire them. And wouldn't that be nice to say, Donald Trump, you're fired. You know, that he was the apprentice in his television series. And he, like all, need to come to the grips of, you're a service provider, you're less than the living Americans that choose to be here. We are your employers, you are our employee, and until you become equal to us by doing the same things here as restoring the land jurisdiction and the land government, then you are a foreigner on our lands. Because we want to hold on to the rock of Peter that establishes, hey, there's no such thing as a non-denominational church. I have to have provenance and standing. So I have to put my foot back through the hole of the land jurisdiction to return to the living soil. Because by the biblical standard of Genesis, the land and soil is the only place that I can live as a man in the image of my Creator with 2 feet. And I have to have at least one on the land and soil. So, the rock of Peter. Where do you stand? So, are you going to be standing in the middle with a focus on the lie and death? Or do you focus as being part of the living? That's the question that you're going to have to ask yourself. And when you're presented, and I plan to present to churches, and we are going to send them notice. And when we send them notice in the form of an affidavit, then they have a responsibility to respond. We also present, we're already giving away prepaid credit through the banking system. And so you can go to global528.com and create your own account. But first, you'll have to return to the living land jurisdiction to do that. And you can do it from across the world. It's set up, and our fiduciary has already made promise through an irrevocable will and land jurisdiction that the gift is opened up to all when these trusts get dissolved. And they're doing that. They're doing their piece. It's now our time to do our piece. So we object to the fraud and crimes, and we return to the soil of our living heritage. And there we honor, and we honor the truth. And so I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to go through all these. Please visit our websites, request more information, start to follow up. There's also TASA.AmericanStateNationals.org is available if you want to return back to the land jurisdiction and help form your unincorporated government. And we do this all from a lawful process. The law is already there. We just need to stand on it in peace. We remain in peace and show them where they mess up in their law, and especially their law of kinds, because we have jurisdiction over the creation. And with that, I thank you.